Welcome everybody to the Flyzone Drone Show. Today is Friday night, and we have a special guest. We met him at Spin Up as well. Great guy, knows his stuff. We have Ed Ricker tonight. Welcome in everyone. We have a good night tonight. So, Maddie, Johnny is our two co-hosts. We're starting out the new year just right this year, and Sergio right there is my partner in crime right there.
Happy
What's
New
up,
Year,
guys?
everybody. Yeah, Maddie.
Good
Michael,
evening, gentlemen.
What's up, guys? Dude, this weather sucks. That's another thing I want to tell you guys about.
For you.
Yeah, for me. Freezing
for
temperatures.
You, it was
are
beautiful
crazy.
here today. Here, anyway. Not in Chicago, I guess.
How cold is it?
Nah, it's nuts here, guys. Man, it's like 10, 15 degrees here, cold. Yesterday was like almost at zero. It's crazy, man.
Wow. Mike, y'all getting a lot of snow right now?
Maybe the last.
No, I mean we got a heavy fall, and then that's it. No more after that.
Gotcha.
We just got a lot of it all at once.
Yeah, I know
Couple
Ron
days,
Brown
that's
is
it.
getting plastered up there, and he said they got the most, I think, snow they've ever gotten.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of snow, man, everywhere. A lot of places are getting hit. But even Colorado got hit pretty good too, right? Didn't it?
Yep.
I think so.
After that fire, they had that fire too. Didn't they have that fire too? That terrible fire. Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about, guys. I'd like to welcome everybody in the chats. We have a lot to talk about. We got a few things to talk about. We're gonna have a Q&A for Ed Ricker. So all you guys in the chats, if you guys want to give, if you guys want any answers to any of your questions, feel free to ask Ed. Ed is very, very good at FPV. He knows his drones. He's good with that, with GPS, and he's good at doing cinematography too. And then we'll talk. Then we'll talk more about the some new releases that might be coming out. We got the Orca digital that they're working on, and we got some more other stuff to talk about. So we'll fill you guys all in.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. So Johnny, who's in the chats? Let's do your thing, buddy. Let's see who's in the chats tonight.
Let me see. You caught me off guard here. Let me go back up. See here.
John, you right there.
It's all right. It's all right.
Troy. Looks like Troy was the first one in. Big Water. Matt Bagwell. Charles Hatmaker. Chris Wedgeworth. Chuck is in the house. TJ is in the house, of course. And if you're watching Kelly Shore, you saw TJ catch that drone in his mouth, Matty.
That was funny.
Yeah.
And then started talking with it still in his mouth.
Yeah. Ken Hallbauer is in.
Oh Lord.
Let's see. Jody Drone Shots. Who else we got? Sam and Rose Burns. They're in here.
Sammy boy, my FPV brother.
Mike
What's
Rennick.
up, Sammy? Matt
Matt Bagwell. I have Drones Will Fly. Dee Dee is in the house, so don't say anything that you don't get Sergio in trouble. Jerry Bauer, welcome in. Who else we got?
Mikey
Ed
J.
is actually in here. Robinson, Third Eye View. Ed Ricker's in, of course. Captain Ray Kelly. Lawrence, Novice Quads. I say that's about it right now. Did I miss anybody? Marcus is. I see Marcus in. Oh, John Kubi's in here too. I see.
Almost cinematic FPV.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Anyways, guys, if we missed any of you guys, we'll go back to you.
Mike Kenny and Chris Waters is in the house. So.
All righty.
We got a great. We got 27 people in already.
Yep. Thank you guys for coming in. We got Sonola Hobby Drone.
Nova just popped in. I saw that. And of course Londonor just popped in.
Londonor.
That's our guy. That's our guy. He's coming in. That's our guy.
Mr. Femi himself. Londonor.
Lonnie boy.
Did you see that video?
Which one?
The one Lon showed with the Femi.
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I think it was on mine. I think it was on my show Tuesday night. He showed a video of the Femi the Femi Mini. The freaking the gimbal was freaking doing this. It was all over the freaking place, bro. The picture quality looked like it was so funny. I wasn't surprised, but it was funny.
Yeah. Well, hey, he said he was going to take care of that little drone. So hey, He did.
But he did fix it. He did. He said he fixed the gimbal.
I think
Was
he
it the
did.
gimbal
He
that
actually did,
that problem? Yeah. Okay.
Art, welcome in, Art. I see Art popped in.
Welcome in. Well, guys, he's here. He's popped in. Let's welcome the man of the hour. Is going to be Ed Ricker. Here we go. Here's Ed Ricker.
Howdy.
Hey,
how's it
buddy.
going? How's it going? Can you
What's
hear
up,
me?
buddy?
Yep.
Yeah,
loud
can hear
and
you
clear.
perfectly.
Good, very
buddy.
good. Nice to see you all. Yeah, it's
Hi,
nice
buddy.
to see y'all since Spin Up. It's been what, a couple months now. It feels like it's just yesterday.
Yeah, it's
It
2
does.
months.
I know, right? Time goes
Yeah.
by, dude.
Yeah, I was looking at some of that old footage. I was actually trying to do some backups every year. I try to get a new hard drive going, and I kind of retired last year's drive, and I saw that huge Spin Up footage file, and I thought, wow, it's a lot of footage. But yeah, that was great to see you all. John, nice to see you again. Maddie, Michael, Sergio, very cool.
Yeah, it was
We
fun.
had a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
I was looking at some of your other live streams too. You know, I didn't know much about your channel until recently. So I guess when I met you guys, when I put the two and two together, that's who Flyzone Drones is. Because you guys stopped in my live streams before many times.
All the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Very good.
Yeah,
Thank
we'd
you
like
for
to
having me
thank
on.
Yeah, we love to have you, man. Thank you for coming.
Glad to be
Come on.
back.
That's very cool. And nice flying with y'all too. It was at a parking
Yeah, it was-
garage.
Oh,
we had
man.
a good time with Greg. I think Greg was on your show
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Is that right? That
He was on right
something
after
like
Spin
that
Up, I
3
believe.
weeks ago.
Yeah, Greg
Okay,
was
must have
good.
been a little
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah.
But that was fun to hang out with Fly. And remember that security guard that kind of gave us an extra hour just out of the kindness of his
Yeah.
heart.
Wanted to know what we were
that
doing.
was
there
nice
first.
of him.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
thought
he
we
was
were
like,
screwed,
how-
but he comes up.
Yeah, you all got an
He
hour.
was-
We got an hour. We're good.
Yeah, he's like, how long are you guys gonna be? He felt bad. He was like, how long are you guys gonna be?
Sean Oz, welcome in. I see Sean popped in.
That's awesome.
Sean,
Well, he probably
what's
thought we
up,
were a bunch
buddy?
of teenagers, you know. And then he rolls up, gets a little closer. Oh, these are not teenagers.
Old
Yeah.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Just as long as we didn't hit his car. That's all that mattered.
Yeah, exactly.
His
Right.
car was parked
Right.
right next to where we were. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ed, what's the temperature out there in North Carolina right now? My niece lives by you in North Carolina. I forgot what town, but she lives in North Carolina.
Well, I just opened up the window here because it is kind of cool, and I love cold weather coming in like that. I would say it feels like 40s, man. It's pretty cold. I haven't really stepped out too much today, but yeah, as of right now, looks like 31 degrees in Raleigh. Okay, so yeah, I haven't stepped out in a couple hours. So, that's enough for us to start canceling classes and stuff. Like North Carolina just starts closing things down, and if there's even a rumor of a flake of snow, the whole town kind of just closes up. So it's good. It's a weekend. I don't have anything like that coming up, but I do have to get some new tires for my vehicle because I'm thinking, man, if we do get some ice, that's a problem with this area. If it does get below freezing and we get some precipitation, more than likely we're going to get freezing rain. It doesn't really go to nice powdery snow. It actually does create some issues. So yeah, we've had some crazy ice storms that kind of just, it really becomes reckless around here. But I don't think we're going to have that problem this week anyway.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
here it's
can't remember-
freezing. Here it's freezing.
Yeah, where y'all based out of again?
Chicago.
Chicago. Gotcha. Very good. And Johnny, you too?
I'm in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. And Maddie, you're
down
Chicago.
in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Wow. Okay. All around.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
That's good.
You ever do much flying in the cold weather, Ed?
I started out flying in cold weather because when I first got an FPV, it was like late November into December, and then 2017, and then I was so into it. I just loved flying and everything. So I was flying into January, February, March, and I remember it being really, really cold. And I remember a couple of times like trying to fly in sub-freezing temperature, and it was. Now when it gets really cold, it actually reminds me of when I first started out, and some of that old reminiscent like passion of like, oh, this is how I remember it feeling, kind of comes back. And then you start feeling like you're in the groove again, even though you can't feel your fingertips, you still feel like, oh, this is what it felt like back when I was first starting out. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Dude, I don't know how you guys do the cold weather. Oh,
Dude,
What about y'all though?
Yeah, but me, Ed, here when it's cold and you fly, man, your fingers get so frozen I can't even touch the sticks anymore. I give up. I go back inside, dude, because it's bad. It's bad.
You mentioned Sean in the chat. He actually did a video, or at least did something with those gloves. They're like they're thin gloves, but they're pretty warm. And so Sean Oz did a video about them, or did something about them. He had some sort of review about it or something, and he referred me to them, and they actually work decently. I was doing some flying with him when I was in Colorado with him, and I was using those, and that was kind of a necessity, because a minute or two into a cold flight up there, 14,000 feet or something, like you can't even land the thing, in time before you're completely numb. So you got to have something.
It's true. Yep.
Are those the gloves that have the little tips that pop off the fingers?
They pop off, right?
On
the ones I'm referring to did not pop off, but they were able to still access the touchscreen, so you can still fly and not not have an issue with touching like a cell phone or something.
Yeah, Sean said they're great except if it's windy, is what he's saying.
Kind of cuts right on through.
Unless it's windy.
Okay,
I see.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cold.
So
I don't know
Ed,
why my camera. I don't know why my camera's decided making me like a ghost right now. It's like sometimes it'll autofocus and it'll look great, like right there, and then it'll pulsate and get really, really bright like that.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna roll with it. Okay.
Run with it, man. Who cares?
Yeah, it's all right. Who cares, dude? We don't
It's
care.
cool. It's an effect. Yeah.
Right.
And you had a question.
Ed, I have a question. So you were into acting, right? Weren't you into acting before?
Yeah, and so you're actually using one of my old acting headshots in my the intro to this live stream, and I was just thinking, I'm like, man, I gotta get some new headshots, because that was about 50 pounds ago or more. But yeah, so I did a lot of acting back in the day, and not any acting that really amounted to anything, but it was just a lot of small time stuff, a lot of either community stuff, or it was student productions, and then I did get represented for about 1.5 years with an agent. So I did audition for a lot of things you would recognize, but I really didn't get a whole lot of that. But it was a cool experience. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. So another thing I want to ask: what you've been flying FPV for 4 years now, right? 4 or 5 years, right?
Isn't that crazy? I think it's 4. Let's see, all of 18, 19, 20, and 21. So yeah, we're getting into the 5th year now. And it's funny because I got so used to telling people I've been flying about 1 year. And I guess I told them that so much that before I realized it had been like 3. And I'm getting these Facebook like, check out this post from 3 years ago today. And it's an old FPV freestyle footage of me 3 years ago. And I'm like, holy crap, it's been 3 years. So yeah, it's been over 4 years now. And that's pretty amazing.
Well, you can certainly tell, bro, because I get impressed when I watch your freaking footage, dude. That shit's wild.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we use your clip in the it's been up in the garage on one of my videos, and man, let me tell you, man, amazing.
That's a good time. I love the parking garage. It's challenging, but it's also really good throttle control practice.
Absolutely.
So you really only have really as tall as this room is for room for error for your throttle control, and that's just a lot of fun to practice.
It's those turns that get me, man. It's like
it would have been a lot easier.
I remember there was one time Greg was coming around the corner. I think it was Greg. He was coming around one of the walls, and I had to do a quick turn because I didn't know if I was going to hit him or not. And that's another thing. It's like in a parking garage situation, you can't just pop up to get out of somebody's way. If you're you have to sideways maneuver, which may cause you to balloon up and hit the roof or hit the ceiling or something. But yeah, I remember there's one time I had to make a quick turn because I wasn't sure if I was going to hit Greg or not. Luckily, I didn't, or I wasn't about to. But anyway,
man, Greg's funny. He never wants to stop flying. He wants to fly 24/7.
That's good,
dude.
That's how it should be. Well, and if it's at night or if it's raining or something, then a parking garage is perfect. Because you can fly at night in a parking garage, or you can fly, when it's raining, assuming that it's not dripping down from higher levels into your level. I remember there's one time we did ruin a quad because we flew through a little mini waterfall from the second to the first floor as it was raining. It was trickling down. But within reason, you can fly in a parking garage anytime as long as there's not cars there.
Right.
Yeah, that was a fun time. We were a little late showing up, but I don't know. Why were we late, Mike? You remember?
I think we were deciding where we were, if we were going to go on the other lot.
Y'all were going somewhere else, I believe.
Yeah, we were gonna go somewhere else, and then
I
Sean
think we
called
were
me and told
waiting.
me where
I
you
think
guys
we were
were.
waiting for somebody. We were waiting.
No, no. We were deciding where to go.
Yeah, Sean called me and said, "Hey, we're at the parking garage," and then gave me the directions, and then that's when we decided to go last minute.
Oh yeah,
We were
yeah,
late. By the time we got there, everybody
wow.
was already leaving. But not long enough for
because we were going to fly.
Sean found that water puddle, so.
Oh, that's right. The only water puddle. I remember that.
He said something in the chat. Hey, he did send me another one, bro. I got to give him credit.
That's good.
He did. He sent me another one. So that was cool.
Good.
That's good.
You know, I think I might have mentioned something about that during that incident. But if ever a quad does fall into water plugged in, you might be able to minimize the damage if you were to unplug it before you take it out of the water.
So leave it in the water and unplug it.
It's worth a shot. It might still be messed up, but you know, it's just more water for that current to go through to maybe not zap the electronics and create such a huge short, as opposed to pulling it out and all of a sudden it's just a thin coating of water, and then of course you're going to cause a short. So that might be an option, but who's to say that would have been fixed it or not, or caused it to not happen anyway.
Well, it's worth a shot. I mean, I guess, because I unplugged it after I pulled it out of the water. So it may have worked.
But I've also seen people with their quad plugged in, washing it off in a puddle to get the dirt off, and then their quad's fine. So a little bit of it is just either if you've conformal coated it or if you're just a lucky person, then you might get by with that.
True. True. Wow, that's good. Have you been flying any regular GPS camera drones lately, or you just been stuck on FPV?
Well, I got my Mavic 3, and actually
Mavic 3.
I've been working hard on a setup tutorial. Actually, it's a part 1 and part 2, and this is kind of something I've done for the last few DJI releases, like Mavic Air 2, Mini 2, Mini, of course the Mavic 2, and stuff like that. I've always tried to do a setup tutorial because they seem to do the best on my channel. So
you do great ones too.
Oh, thank you.
I've watched every one of them. They do absolutely awesome.
I feel like I've gotten better just because enough people have complained about what I omitted in the first few, and so now I kind of realize, this is what they actually want to see. So it's a compilation of old comments that have kind of got me to where these should be now. But yeah, so it's I think both of them are about 25 minutes each. Both the bench setup that I just did, like right here, and then the one where I went out to a parking lot and did the first flight. So that's its own separate video. So you can watch the first one at home. When you first get the drone, you can either unbox it along with what I'm doing, or at least understand that you don't want to go out to the field immediately because the drone doesn't come charged, it doesn't come updated, doesn't come activated. You want to make sure, if you want to get that DJI Care Refresh plan, that you do that within 48 hours. A lot of different things that people might not know about FAA registration that we kind of need to do before you go out to fly. And then part 2 is when we go out and we actually take off for the first time.
What do you like the Mavic 3?
Yeah, I like it a lot. The update that we had maybe a month and a half ago where it gave us the expo settings, that was one of the only things I was really, really missing. The other thing was my Google Pixel 6 Pro didn't work with the DJI Fly app, but the latest DJI Fly app rendition also fixed that. So those are my two biggest gripes. I think there's at least one other one. Oh, what was it? There was something I'm still missing, and I can't remember what it is now. But it's not, it's not the perfect drone, but it's really good. And of course, we have a great camera on it. We have good flight time. Just a lot of things that I really like. Oh, smart controller. That was the biggest thing. And of course, I think y'all were at Spin Up. You remember the DJI rep. At the spin-up event, we were kind of all throwing him questions he didn't know how to answer or didn't want to answer.
Didn't want to answer.
And one of the questions, maybe it was one of you guys, Sergio or Michael, was it one of you who said something about the smart controller? Or someone in the audience who was like, is that new smart controller going to be backward compatible? And then the guy from DJI is like, well, if enough people ask for it. And I'm like, that's the most basic of needs that we would want from a new smart controller, is to be able to work with my Mavic Air 2S and stuff. Because right now, I have the smart controller, the original one.
Yeah.
And I can't use it with the new Mavic 3. And then the new Smart Controller Pro, I can't use with the Mavic 2. And it's like, that defeats the whole purpose of a smart controller, in my opinion. A smart controller should be able to bounce back and forth between all the devices you own, at least by a certain company. So it's got to happen. I can't believe they haven't. And I can't believe that isn't so obvious that he would say something like that.
Yeah, he did the best job of not answering any questions I ever seen before.
Yeah, that's right. So
we pretty much expected that. We kind of knew he wasn't going to be able to give us very good answers.
All I can hope is that if that's what he wants, then hopefully we do put up enough of a stink that'll happen.
Right.
But until then, I don't think I'm going to buy it. I'm making the controller that came with the Mavic 3 Fly More combo just the best it can be, with some longer thumbsticks, a sun hood, a lanyard strap, and a few other things that kind of make it to where I would be okay with using it as a primary controller. But I can't see myself sinking another $1,100 into a smart controller right now.
Yeah, it's $1,100. I don't personally see any issues with that controller. A lot of people complain about the Mavic. It's got the Mini 2 comes with that controller, and then yet a $2,200 Mavic 3 comes with the same controller. I don't see any problems with it. I actually like that controller. I don't know if I'm the only one that does. Some people don't. I don't see a problem with it.
Now, have you got the Autel yet? Either the Nano or the Lite series? Have you gotten it?
No. I have the main Evo 2 Pro 6K.
Okay.
Autel reached out to me asking if I wanted to try the Lite, and I looked it up because I didn't know much about it, and I thought I didn't really. I mean, I liked the Autel Evo 2 Pro 6K, but I didn't like it enough to try more releases from them at the moment. So I think I'm going to probably pass on that. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I'm going to pass too right now. You know, I think what they did is good. I think they're moving on the right direction. Autel, which is the stability, the flight characteristics on that drone now, and the obstacle avoidance on the Nanos now in a smaller version too. I don't know if you've seen Ken from Original Dobo. He did a video on it, and he said nothing but good stuff on it. I mean, I don't have one, but I heard
everybody's pretty satisfied with both versions, the Nanos and the Lights so far, from what we've seen. They are a little pricey.
What did you think, Matt, though? Because I remember there was a live stream, and maybe it was when Michael first reached out to me about Flyzone, and I was like, oh, let's check out some live streams. And, Matty, you said something about Autel drones and how you were like, you know, I'm sorry about anyone who went for that one. But I was scrubbing around in the playhead trying to find what you were referring to. Is there an Autel drone that you really didn't like, or was it not ready, or what happened with that?
Well, the whole process of when they released these drones 4 or 5 months ago, and then they didn't put them out to the consumers. It took 4 months for them to finally send them out. Wow. And a lot of people had pre-ordered them. And what Autel was doing was they were giving dates of when the drone was being released, and then they kept pushing the dates off. They just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And now finally, I think it was when was it? It was,
I think, December 31st actually is the first day somebody got one.
When was it first introduced?
Oh, it was like September.
September.
Yeah. Wow.
And it took them 3 months or 4 months to actually release the drone to the public.
Yeah, around the 1st of September.
And this was before, when I had made that comment, this was before we knew that they were starting to ship. I felt bad for people that had their money tied up in this drone and had no idea when it was coming.
I got you. Okay.
And it's still not in a very, I mean, well, they're starting to come in now every day. You say
every little by little, they're starting to come in. Not everybody has theirs yet, but from what we've seen, they've done pretty good with them so far.
Okay.
I mean, every brand has their little nicks that they have to fix.
I got you. Well, and one thing that, you know, I mean, I guess because I already had the Evo 2 Pro 6K, you know, and that's a comparable drone in terms of like capabilities to the Mavic 3, and I thought that might be a cool video to make, just a comparison, because it's also probably closer in price than trying to compare the Mavic 3 to a Air 2S or something, like, you know, which may not be fair considering the price and stuff like that, or even a different drone for the sensor size. But one thing that I really like the Mavic 3 over the Autel Evo 2 Pro is the gimbal and how smooth the Mavic 3 gimbal is in terms of pitch. And so with the Evo 2 it's like when I'm using that pitch dial on the remote,
Right.
it's moving, but it doesn't have a really smooth ramp up. It clicks into movement. And I can't get into it. Like if I'm trying to really go from a standstill to a very gradual pitch up or tilt up, it doesn't do that. And the Mavic 3 does. And every DJI drone has. I mean, from what I can remember, that's always been the case. So that's why I was disappointed in the Autel Evo. And then I was like, well, if I can't do that, that really limits me. I don't care that it can shoot 5.4K or it stays up for 40 minutes at a time. That's a big issue. I don't know if the new smart controller by Autel fixes that, but with the remote that they gave me, it doesn't. And so I'm actually probably going to sell that Autel because I just don't fly it. Except for maybe a review purpose, I don't fly it.
Marcus just put in the chat said he's selling his freaking Nano Plus.
What?
He's trying to return it.
No
He just
way.
said, yeah, Matt. Yeah, look, he said it's
I don't
crap.
know if Mark did. He, I guess he flew again because I know the day he flew was like 18 degrees. So
God, yeah, he must have issues with his gimbal, I guess, because he had this weird gimbal jitter, but we thought maybe it was, you know how camera gimbals hate cold weather, so he thought maybe it was the cold weather that was causing the gimbal to jitter really bad in the video. Apparently, that wasn't the problem.
And they were having problems with the Nano on the speed issue. It would like coast like really slow.
I think somebody. I think that's corrected from what I've seen on a couple of YouTube videos. But
it was corrected.
It might be an obstacle avoidance issue because sometimes, if the obstacle avoidance is sensing the sun or something ridiculous, it might slow your drone down too.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. As you said, it's full of jello. So
all I gotta say, guys, I'm just waiting for the Mavic Mini 3.
There you go. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah.
I sold my Mini 2. And
what are some things you might see in a Mavic 3 or a Mini 3? What do you think?
Well, we're definitely
obstacle avoidance, active track probably too, and
yeah, some kind of active track. I think the obstacle avoidance is most people don't use that. A lot of people don't use that feature, but yeah, I think some kind of active track would be the big.
You would have to have obstacle avoidance to have active track. At least that's the case, I would imagine. Yeah,
sure. And then maybe you might get another 1 or 2 minutes out of. I don't think it can improve the battery too much,
Yeah, we'll end up with a 1/2.3 sensor probably. 1/1.23, 2.8, whatever the hell it is. The 0.8, the one in Nano Plus has almost a 1 inch. But I don't know if you could put much bigger camera on a drone that size.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, do you think the Mini line is always going to be under 250 grams? You think that's always going to be the case?
Well, here in the States, it's right now it's not that big of a deal for us, but for a lot of countries, man, they bank on it being under 250 grams because of their freaking regulations.
Right.
Yeah, Canada,
for instance, they can do almost anything.
You can do whatever. You can do anything with it.
Yeah.
You can do anything with it. Anything over 250 grams, though, their regulations are worse than ours.
I think it's gonna be the same size. I think so.
But
might be a different design too.
I don't know.
I just wonder how much they can keep cramming into 240.
I know,
grams,
right? I know.
So if that's a limiting factor, I don't know.
But
as long as it fits in your pocket, if it doesn't get any bigger and they just are able to cram some more stuff into there, keep the same form factor, that'd be okay with that. As a United States citizen.
At the same time, though, with it not being a problem in the U.S., remote ID. That's going to be a big one because anything under 250 is supposedly supposed to be exempt from remote ID.
Yeah.
Right.
So a lot of people might flock to that under 250 grams because of that issue.
True.
Yeah, possible.
Well, then you also got to think, is every drone release supposed to replace the previous one? And I sometimes I think about that with the Mavic line, with the original Mavic being 1,000, and then the Mavic 2 being what, 13, 14, 1,500 or something, and now the Mavic 3 being 2,000. Are they really replacing each other, or is it more of an upgrade in every situation? Because the Mavic 2 is still completely viable, and the Mavic 1 is even still used by a lot of people.
Yep.
So if a Mini 3 came out and it didn't, it just was a slightly different audience, perhaps, or a slightly different market, perhaps. It may not have been 249 grams, but they still sell the Mavic, the Mini 2 to whoever wants it.
Right.
I just don't know if it needs to ultimately replace its predecessor.
The only thing,
That's true.
If it would get close to the Air 2S though in specs, then it'd be hard to sell that into, if it's only a few $100 or a couple $100 difference. So I guess they kind of got to lay in between both of the products,
Yeah, true. I hope they don't get near the Air 2S because that's my favorite quad. Don't get near it. I don't.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
That's my other guy. I'm actually having a charge. So I'm doing a little real estate stuff tomorrow, and I'll use the Mavic 3 for the main shot. But if it goes down for some reason, I always have that Mavic Air 2 as a backup.
I see that Air 2S box behind you on the kit.
Yeah. So Ed, up to then, you shot everything with the Air 2S for real estate?
Whatever I had that I felt like was the best and most convenient. So before that, it was probably the Mavic Air 2, but before that, it was the Mavic 2 Zoom, most likely, which I found because it had a wider field of view than the Mavic 2 Pro. So if I needed to get a shot of the front of the house, the Mavic 2 Pro usually was too narrow. And because, if you're on a street trying to get the front of the house, more than likely there's another house behind you and you're trying not to get on their front lawn. So you're trying to back up as much as possible, and the Mavic 2 Pro just would never give me enough field of view. And that's why I like the Mavic Air 2S, because that had, I think, more field of view than even the Mavic 2 Zoom. And so, I preferred the Mavic 2 Zoom before all this Mavic Air stuff. Before that, I was probably using some Phantom 4 Pro stuff, and before that probably Mavic Pro. So whatever's best with a large field of view, with the best image quality I can muster up.
Right.
Lon is trying to reach out to you about something. He said put something in the chat, bro. He's trying to tag your name. Lon's trying to tag you and he can't get your name up. To Ed, he's trying to talk to Ed and he can't. He just wrote, "Hey, you got me blocked, bro."
Maybe if I'll just chime in again in the chat. Maybe I'll just say hi. That way he can tag me again. Oh, I see. He tagged me. He added me just fine.
He should be able to. Yeah.
Yep. No,
Ed, you're a Smurf. Ed, you're a Smurf now.
You got really? So I can. Let's see. Testing. So does that mean
block people?
Let me see. Yeah, there it is. Okay, sweet. Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Oh, there he goes. I like the gray better. I thought the gray was cooler, bro.
I still got my little check mark. I'm happy.
You got your check mark next to your name, bro.
It's still there. Yeah.
What now? What is that? Is that over 100K? Is when you have that, or
it's over 100K and verified. So some people, if you get above 100K, you still haven't gotten verified, and sometimes that takes a little while. But I remember the night I got 100K, I was so excited. I messaged my YouTube, and I just. Whoever, I don't know how you get to YouTube customer service, but it's there. And they were able to do it within like 10 minutes. So that was fun.
So Novus Quad says, Lauren says, if your drone does not have remote ID, it will have to stay in a local park with limitations.
Yes. At least that's what they're saying.
I don't know.
One of those FRIA fields?
Like an AMA field or something like that.
Yeah, FRIA, what's it? A federally recognized
AMA field, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing right now. I've tried, and the people down here, like in Fort Lauderdale, we have AMA fields, a couple of them in the area, and they hate drone pilots.
Yeah, same here. We got one, and the guy said we don't welcome drones. He told me just like that.
They don't like them. They don't want their thousands of. They got thousands of dollars dumped into these planes. They don't want them flying around. A drone that God forbid a collision or something like that. Yeah.
Well, especially FPV guys too, because that's a whole different community anyway. I mean, not whole different, but within drones, there's two different sub communities. Yep. So I remember when we were in Texas for Spin Up, and we were at that AMA field. I remember like around noon we were supposed to start wrapping up, and there was that guy who came up with some sort of VTOL. He was doing the vertical takeoff, and I remember walking up to him, and I'm like, "Hey, what's your frequency?" Just because I didn't know, I don't want him to blow us out and vice versa. And we're crashing all over the place. Of course, he doesn't want to.
He knocked me out.
Yeah, he sure did.
He said, "Well, that's what So I said, "What's your frequency?" He goes, 5945 or whatever it was, whatever like race 8 or above is, whatever that is. I guess a little high. I think it's like E something. It's above R8. And he's like, "It's high on anything. You don't have to worry about anything." And that's what he said to me. And so then I was walking over to you, and all of a sudden I see you guys had gotten blown out. So I start walking back over to him, and I was a little upset. I was actually about to confront him, and then Kelly's like, "No, I handled it. We actually have to go. We can't be here anymore." And I thought, "Oh, okay, we've overextended our welcome." So I wasn't about to get up, But at the time, I was like upset that he was so sure that he was not going to have an issue with us, or vice versa. And I was like,
Yeah, he was aware of it. And then all he did was start it, and then he never. I don't think he ever took off.
No, he did after I dropped. I was flying for like 3 or 4 minutes before he plugged in.
Right.
And I think I was at like 30 feet or something. I just disarmed right away. I didn't know where else to go with it.
Well, I think he was gonna bring it down to readjust the camera anyway. I thought you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He knocked me out pretty quick though. As soon as he fired up, I got.
He did. Yeah.
Boom.
yeah.
I said, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
That was my first flight with that 5-inch too.
Right. Yeah. Like I'll have patience with people if they plug in and don't know, but when they have some sort of misplaced confidence that they won't have a problem with you and they won't even listen to you if you have any sort of concerns about it, that's when I get upset. But yeah, it all turned out all right. We found other places to fly.
Yeah, true. It worked out well. It was. Yeah, it is what it is, man. Where'd Mike go?
I don't know.
I just realized he's missing.
I think
like when we went to the spin down that Sunday, I know a lot of people were flying in the big open area, but you just went right behind the tree line there. So, like, did you go? I mean, so you just did that out the. You didn't know what was back there, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Well, I saw there were trees and it looked safe. It didn't look like there were people walking around. But I don't fly. I mean, I'll do testing in an open field, but if it's an open field with trees and there's an option, I will not.
They had a big tree line and they had a big gap between there, so, right?
But there was the issue. There's a lot of people flying, a lot of video frequencies, and also that's a long way to walk. So I wasn't really that confident doing much over there. If I was alone, I would have walked closer to it and then been able to have a better experience with both radio frequency as well as just sheer walking distance.
It's pretty good ways out there, and you couldn't be jumping on a field with all the people.
And then with DJI digital, if you get more than a couple, even if you're at 25 megabit and you're at a low milliwattage for power, you're still going to have issues with other people if you get too many flyers in the air. And so I was getting some issues with stuttering. And that's when you're flying and then all of a sudden you glitch and then it kind of starts moving again and it glitches for a second and it's really disorienting. And if you're in the middle of a power loop or something, it's just that's a horrible news. Yeah. So I flew a little bit there, but honestly, I didn't feel comfortable really breaking out.
It was a lot of people.
And so I kind of just hung out. And then when everyone started to kind of trickle away, we kind of went off to another area. And usually, it was handled great for what it was. Lots of flyers, different flight lines. For the most part, it worked out well. But for me and my friends, when we fly, we don't even push that. We say, "Oh, you're going up, I will wait."
Right.
That's exactly what we do. Yeah.
As opposed to powering on, hoping for the best, and keep going unless someone complains. It's usually a trade-off experience.
Absolutely.
And so or we're calling out when we're plugging in. All right, plugging in, or digital 4 plugging in. And so I didn't hear a whole lot of that. And so that also made me a little bbit cautious and nervous about going too far away because I didn't want to be the one to have to walk and get my quad.
I don't blame you.
Everyone
I think most of the people
lands,
there
and then we have to.
Most of the people there kind of, I don't say they fly alone or maybe one other person, and never been around a big group like that,
It was definitely
it's just a group. It's what. So when we were at another place would be Rotor Riot Rampage, where you had lots of different people flying, and we had video problems on occasion. And that's just what happens when you get a bunch of people there. Yeah. We had 150 people at Rampage. We had different flight lines that were spread apart as well as they could, but still on occasion you get bleed over, and it's just a risk that you have to be willing to take, and you can't get mad at people because that's you signed up to go. So that's kind of the situation. You get a lot of drone flyers, you have to expect that, and then you just fly within those boundaries that you've realized are there.
we're gonna have the same situation at the South Florida Drone Meetup. I'm gonna have to, for the FPV guys, I'm gonna have to work something out because there's gonna be, I don't know, we got about 60 something people coming so far, but it'll probably be 100 by the time April comes around. But I don't know what you're doing in April, Ed, but we do a meetup in Florida in Jensen Beach, which is close to Central Florida, like South Florida, Central Florida line. And we're doing it on April 2nd, 2022. It's going to be in Jensen Beach, Florida.
April 22nd, you said?
April 2nd.
2nd.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll check.
Yeah, man. We're going to have quite a few guys. Lon will be down here. He's actually riding down here with, I don't know if he's flying down here with Billy or if he's driving with Billy. I'm not sure which one he's doing. But they're all staying. We're staying. We got a hotel that's giving us discount rates. It's at the Hampton Inn Suites. And then
nice.
We'll all be there. You know, there's going to be quite a few. There's going to be quite a few people there. Pretty much everybody in the chat will be there.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was you got over 60 people right now. Yeah.
So far, yeah. So far, the last one was really well. We did one in March. Ray Kelly. We did one in March, and it was only supposed to be about a dozen of us, and there ended up being about 55 pilots from all over the country showed up, and it was big. I mean, you got some big names down here. You know, you had Billy, and then you had, Dobo was here, and then Lon was here, and then there was just a ton of people that we did not expect to show up. So the second one, we're doing it a little bit different. We got a bigger location, and it's a little bit more organized now.
Okay.
It's on a Saturday. It's at a like a big ass boat ramp on the Intercoastal, but that Sunday I'll be doing an FPV fly day.
Nice.
In local areas around the town. So, but
one thing you can do for getting video together like that, if you have a lot of people going, you can either do the whiteboard route where everyone signs up for a flight, a frequency, and you time people out. That way, you're not having random people plug in wherever. You can also, I don't know if it's big enough to create two different lines, but if it's one line, you can also say, we're only flying digital for the next 10 minutes, or we're only flying analog, and spread those apart. And that way, the analog flyers aren't getting digital lines in the video feed, and then the digital guys can not worry about blasting analog guys. It just works a lot better. And that's what we did at Rampage too. It was, unless it was just one or two people up, which was rare. If it was like a whole group that wanted to go, it was going to be all digital or all analog. A lot easier.
Good idea. The whiteboard thing I saw, I believe Ken did that at Minefield.
Nice.
And it seemed to have worked. It seemed to
25 megabit. We Rampage the first year we limited ourselves to 25 milliwatts, which is pretty low. But the next year, 3 years later, we did 200 milliwatts, and that actually was okay. We were able to do 200 milliwatts at 25 megabits per second with DJI, and then 200 milliwatts with analog, and that worked out.
Now, how many? I'm not really. Now, I just got DJI GOG. I'm new to digital. How many digital quads, can you get up in the air at one time without screwing up somebody else's channel?
Supposedly, you can have one on every DJI channel, but in real life, we've had issues with that, especially at 50 megabit. So at 50 megabit, you have three options. You have DJI 1, 2, and 3. If you're at 25 megabit, you have 1 through 7 plus your public channel. I think you still have public with 50. But anyway, so sometimes if my friend and I are flying 50 megabit and he's on 1 and I'm on 3, we still have stuttering issues. I don't know why. We don't get that at 25 megabit. So if we're flying together, and it's not even all the time. It's like we can't even find the rhyme or reason to it. So sometimes we're fine, and sometimes we aren't. But usually, if we're flying all together, there's going to be 3 of us, two digital and 1 analog. More than likely, we'll bump down to 25 megabit. He'll be on DJI 1. I'll be on like DJI 4, and then analog is going to be on R7. And that's usually how we can coexist pretty well.
Yeah. See, I don't really know much about that. At least not yet.
Well, then you also got to think, your milliwattage output. We've done that hack to get it to 1200 as opposed to the default 700
I did do
milliwatts.
that.
So that could also be an issue. If we were doing 50 megabit at 700 milliwatt, maybe we would have a perfectly good time. But there's a lot of like these little variables that we've separately done things to our quads and to our video transmitter setup. And so it would take an afternoon of just trial and error trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I just started flying digital recently, and now I want to transfer everything over. I don't know why I started analog in the first place. I really don't.
Well, everyone did. I mean,
Well,
most people did anyway.
You started.
I
started,
I
man.
I don't know. I don't know. I've only been flying for what 5 months now, and I just started flying digital like a month ago. And actually, I got
Now-
the digital goggles from Ken. Ken Dono gave them to me. I did a job with him in West Palm, and
Okay.
he freaking gave me the goggles, which was
So
pretty cool.
what is, and that's awesome of him. He gives away some good stuff.
Dude, he's a great dude.
Now that you've gone to digital, and you've made that transition, and you still are within that, you said 5 to 6 month time
Yeah.
period of you flying FPV.
Yep.
What would you suggest to people who are just getting into it, who think they might be saving some money going analog first, or do you think that's not a good idea?
My opinion, I think the future is digital. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have went to digital right away. I would have bought a bind and fly quad that was strictly digital from the get-go, and I would have never bought analog goggles. I started out with a Tiny Hawk 2 freestyle, so I learned I wanted to go with something small, which
you're buying everything twice, just like we're having to do.
Yeah, but I mean,
Right.
you have to start somewhere, and but nowadays they're putting digital cameras in whoops and in smaller quads. So I mean, you can learn. You don't have to start on analog just to learn how to fly FPV. You can go digital.
Yeah, and you have your simulator too to practice.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about your first crashes, just use your simulator. I think that's good. You know, I took a little while to get into digital, but once I got into digital, I still realized I did have some of my smaller, like 65 millimeter whoops and stuff for indoor use that I still wanted to use my analog goggles with. So I just got that digidapter, and I have it on my goggles all the time with a rapid fire module.
I have one on the way.
That's still, if someone were to buy that, what, it's like $70 for the digidapter, and then probably another like 130 for rapid fire or something.
130 for it's like 140 for rapid fire, I think it is, or something like that. But yeah,
as opposed to a whole nother Fat Shark set. But yeah, it's still not like, there's still a bit of a cost. So if you went analog quad first and you had your DJI gear already, that wouldn't make sense either. If you already have like your DJI, like you said, you had your goggles, yeah, just jump right into digital.
That was the hardest part was, I was fortunate enough to get the goggles from Ken, but that's usually the hardest part in digital for people is the expense, because they are expensive. It is expensive, but the visibility, the clarity, and I got to be honest with you, a lot of people make comments about the latency.
Yeah,
I don't see much of a difference when I fly. Now, I'm not a racer, but when I fly normal FPV, I don't see a difference in the latency.
Yeah,
at all.
Well, it depends where you're flying to. So if you you're in that parking garage and you go at the far end, or you go up to the second or third floor and you're on the first, you're going to notice, all of a sudden this feels really weird. But then you got to think what analog would be in the same case. It would be trash. It would
Wouldn't
be
even
like channel.
have a hard time looking at the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like the worst channel on your analog TV. So I think DJI, especially in an environment like that, is the way to go. And then you just kind of know, if I were to go behind that wall, I'm willing to bet my latency would jump up. And you just kind of already know that. You kind of already have that in your mind.
Yeah, you prepare for it. I guess you know it's coming. I didn't know latency changes like that when you start getting around air.
Right. Yeah, stuff. You can see it on the lower right if you actually.
Oh yeah, you can actually
take the chance to look down there. But no, you'll find like all of a sudden like your control feels really drunk, and you're like, whoa! All of a sudden everything is slow, and it just becomes really disorienting. And so if you haven't experienced it already, you will soon. But especially in some of those environments where analog would already be trash, but then DJI just has its own form of trash, and that's in the form of a blocky video, higher latency, the risk of dropout, which with analog you don't really have the risk of it dropping out and not coming back.
You would agree to go to start off digital or start off analog? I mean,
I would. I was just having a conversation about this recently. So, like right now, it's nice to fly indoors because it's cold. So if you want to be able to fly around in your room with a small little tiny thing that won't hold like a Caddx Vista or the equivalent, you got to think about that. But if you're okay with flying outdoors, yes, I would say first off with the simulator, I'd say that with it for anybody. But then get into your digital realm, and it really depends too, because you mentioned it being expensive. Fat Shark goggles can be expensive, especially with the module.
Yeah.
So like an HDO2 goggle set with rapid fire would be probably comparable to your DJI goggles. But if you were to go with some like old Amway Commanders with a Furious FPV True D system or something, that would be a lot less. But then your experience wouldn't be as good. You're talking about it just looking bad, like an old VHS tape and stuff. Right. And so, it's like you'll always be wanting more. When digital's there, it's like you really just want to jump right in. I understand the funds are low.
It's so different.
Yeah,
look
but
at it.
here's one thing that's interesting.
Did you guys hear about the new one that's coming out?
Which one?
I was just getting ready to bring that up. I was just getting ready to bring those up.
Yes, Orca. I've seen a little bit of that, but I don't know much about them.
Yep, they introduced a DJI digital set digital unit at CES.
What's the price on that?
Those I believe are $569
for just the goggles.
I believe so.
Okay.
And I think I'm not sure. Damn it. I had the info pulled up the other day and I don't remember what I did with it. But they're they were released. Now I think those are analog goggles, but I think there is an adapter you put on it to get the digital. And they showed 3 different units at CES, 3 different digital units at CES. There's different sizes. I'm not exactly sure what the specs are on it, but I don't know what the name of them are either.
I like the way they look. They look a little better than the DJI goggles, to be honest.
They're called they're Pilot FPV goggles, Orca FPV.
I guess until you get some antenna on there.
$569.
Here's the unit. Here's the unit that they're putting on the goggle.
Is the antenna already on, or is it just like low profile like that, or what?
Look at that.
No, I think the antennas still have to. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't know.
I hadn't seen a picture with the.
I haven't seen antennas. Oh yeah, I do. Now I do. And the picture on Get FPV, the dude is where it has some patch antennas on the left side where the module goes.
Okay.
So right now there's no module. It doesn't look like there's a module on there, from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, because I think wasn't John saying something about you have to buy the module separate?
I think I'm not sure.
I thought.
I don't know, man. That's pretty wild.
I know it's brand new. They just.
So this is supposed to be. That's what I'm telling you. The future of FPV is digital. I think. I really do.
Well, here's something I was going to just say. One thing I noticed going from analog to digital is, and I've said this before in other live streams, where analog kind of felt a little bit more like I was in a separate experience from reality, like a detached sort of feel. Whereas digital, it's so real and clear, it feels much more real, like lifelike, as it probably should. But it makes me, I think, fly a little different. I think I was more willing to take a risk and more willing to crash or something with analog because it had that different look to it as opposed to DJI FPV digital, which looks so much more lifelike. It makes me kind of hold back a little more. I'm not sure if that's the case for everybody, but I think it is for me. Just a different feel.
Right.
What do y'all think?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
what happened to you, Mike?
I guess with digital or analog, a crash is a crash to me. Although I don't know how to fix shit yet, so I have no idea what I'm.
You might see it a little better in digital.
I'll see the crash better. I'll see the tree coming up before I hit it better.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
I don't know.
It's just something I've felt, and it's like just there is a bit of a sentimental quality to the analog footage look that I do sometimes miss on occasion, but
it is different. Well, that's because that's what you guys all started with back then.
Right. But I don't miss a static. But I was mentioning about dropouts earlier. DJI FPV does, when it drops out hard and it doesn't come back. Analog video, if you just punch out of whatever area you're in, you might regain your video. DJI digital, man, if it goes to black, it'll take it's like a solid minute to reboot itself and to find itself
for you
again.
to have to disarm, put it that way.
Right.
So what did I miss, guys? Because I realized that I didn't plug in the my camera to the power outlet, and the battery died.
Ed gave away a pair of DJI
He
FPV
gave away
goggles.
FPV goggles. He gave away his Mavic.
I gave something to
3.
everyone who was here. I'm sorry, man.
Exactly.
Oh, what the hell, man? Shit. Speaking of goggles, did you guys talk about the Orca goggles yet?
That's what we're talking about right
We
A
now.
little
did,
bit.
yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Okay. Did Sergio show the pictures, how they look
Yeah.
and everything?
He did.
Okay.
They are
cool.
definitely
pretty
cool
sweet.
looking. They're
The
We're,
definitely
price-
we're looking
the
at
price- Everything?
yeah, the price being comparable. Like the DJI FPV goggles V2 is $569 on DJI's website right now.
Yep.
And you said that the Orca was what?
I think the same
$569.
price. Yeah.
Wow.
$569.
Okay.
Let me see.
$569 at Get FPV. Now the question is, are they all? Yeah, see, $569. Are they all? Are they? Is it analog and digital, or is? I don't understand what they're doing.
I think you could do both, Matt. I think you
I
could do
think-
both.
That's got to be
Because
because
right
they wouldn't
now, those-
release, they wouldn't
Right.
release new goggles with a new DJI Air unit
Now it had to be digital.
or a
and
digital
then-
Air
Yeah.
unit.
Right. So here's the thing. Here's what I found out. Me and John Cooper were talking earlier.
Hey,
So
Shelby,
these-
what's up, bud?
So these Pilot 1 goggles from Orca, okay, they're digital. They're HD digital compatible. We won't see it for another 3 to 6 months, right? The full version. But now they're selling these. Right now they're analog.
Yeah.
What I found out, and these are the Air units, like the Air units. So you got
There's
the regular,
there's the units right there.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and then
It's interesting.
The Nano,
So you got 5.8 and 2.4.
and then 5G.
Yeah, so the
One of them's
military
5G.
grade.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
5.8, 2.4, and 5G.
But I still
That's
wonder
definitely-
what the antenna are going to look like, And we were talking about that. Is like the antenna built in, or is it something separate? Because 2.4 gigahertz antenna, I think is substantially bigger than 5.8 in terms of how big you'd have to have that on the quad. Unless, like I said, somehow.
Yeah, that's
built in,
one
I
thing
don't know.
they didn't show. That
The
they didn't. They
antennas.
don't show the
Yeah.
antennas.
Yeah, and I don't know. You'll see in the middle that's where you attach that device for digital. Right in the
The
middle
digital
there. There's a little
device.
slot. Yeah, I guess.
Now that would be nice to own a pair of goggles that will run analog and digital without having to add different things or buying. The question is,
Yeah.
how much is the digital adapter going to be? Because you're
That's
only
what-
paying
that's
almost $600 for the goggles.
That's what
Mhm.
me and John were saying. Yeah.
How much could they?
Well-
How much is that adapter going to be? You know what I mean? That's a lot of money.
And the only thing that
For a
sucks
lot of-
about these goggles is that their field of view is down to 33 or 37 compared to the original HDOs and the Sky Zones. The field of view is bigger, and if they're going to compete with DJI, come on.
Wait,
and that
you said Orca is what field of view?
33 to 37 somewhere around
They
there.
got smaller.
They got
that's
smaller.
narrow, yeah.
They went
Yeah.
really
The
narrow.
HDO2 is what? They're like 49, 48 or to 50 or something like that.
40,
and
42.
DJI,
It's 50.
what 42? It's up there. And then, but the HDOs I think were 38, right?
What are
Fat
the
Shark-
DJI?
Fat Shark-
What
I
are the
believe it's
DJI
38.
ones?
HDO2 field of view.
50.
Yeah, the DJI goggles, man. I don't know. Let's see,
50.
40. Okay, HDO2s are 46.
Okay, 46.
DJI FPV goggles field of view.
That's a bummer, though, man.
Yeah, why?
Oh,
they
to
could-
54. Goes up to 54 for the
54.
DJI FPV goggles.
Nice.
But you got to
I
also
wonder-
remember with DJI PV goggles, if you're running like the Digidaptor or some other
Yeah.
thing that you can run analog, it
Yep.
crops the sides.
It crops,
if
yeah.
you're doing 4x3, I believe. It might even do it if you're doing 16:9. You don't get all of it.
Let me
Right.
ask you a question, Ed. How do you change your ratio in the goggles? Is there an option in there that can change from 16:9 to 4:3?
Well, if your
The
goggles are
DJI
compatible,
goggles?
Yes.
The DJI PV goggles, yes. But you most likely, what I like to do is stay 4x3 because you get more field of view. It's not just stretching or whatever like you might see with what Fat Shark was doing.
Yeah.
It actually literally cuts off the top and the bottom to make 16:9 out of a 4x3 image.
And-
So you're losing the top and the bottom.
So
of
right
the
now,
visual.
I don't know exactly what I'm running. I know I'm full screen, but I don't know if it's 4:3 will crop, won't it? So you'll be able to see the difference.
You would, yeah. It's just more square looking. 16:9 would be that more immersive look. And honestly, I'll use 16:9 if I'm cruising, especially with my long range 7-inch quad with the Caddx polar camera.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Caddx polar. Yeah. Because then that's fine. No big deal. But if I'm freestyling and stuff, and I really need to see that little extra inch on top and bottom, then I'll definitely do 4x3.
See, that's weird because 16:9 on the DJI goggles blows up the whole screen. 4x3 makes it more square. But on my Eachine 300Os, 16:9 it's more. It looks more like
more in your face, right? More in your face.
It's more rectangular, and then the 4x3 is more in your face. It's weird. It's backwards. I don't know why it's like that, but that's the way they work. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't know. I like flying in 16:9 where I can see. Like I want it up. I want it in my face.
Well, there's a benefit to narrower field of view as well, and sometimes it's just because if you're freestyling, let's say you're using HDOs by Fat Shark, and you have your 38, I believe, field of view. It's narrower, and some people would complain it's not as immersive, and it's not. But it's less for your eyeball to travel around. So when it takes into consideration reaction time and peripheral view, it actually might be better to have it narrower in some cases.
Sense.
Some cases.
Yeah, you're always moving around in the goggles. You're always moving around if it's.
I never understood the differences. I'm still new to all this crap, so 5 months I would think I'd know it.
A simulator? I mean, what simulator do you like best?
I've tried a few. I started with Liftoff in 2017.
That's what I've been.
And I like that because of the maps and everything. But since then, I think there have been ones like Drone, which, am I saying it right? Well, there's DRL, DCL. Now, like Drone is probably gonna have the best physics, I would say. Feels the best. But you're probably going to have a great time having very beautiful environments in DCL. Or Liftoff has some pretty imaginative environments too.
Yeah, I like flying
DRL, some people say it's like the best one, but I never got it to work very well. I didn't think the physics were good at all.
I haven't tried that one. But
What's DCL?
Uncrashed.
Uncrashed, yeah, that's a new one. That's a semi-new.
I haven't tried that one yet. DCL is Drone Champions League, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But they came out with it, I think, the last 2 years ago, maybe, and I like that one. It just kind of depends, there is a feel, there's a soundtrack that's playing, there's a certain look to the UI. I mean, there's just one may not have the best gravity, but you might have the most fun playing it. And then so I've actually found myself playing DCL a lot just because I like the feel of it, I like the look.
Shelby, what's up, bud?
There he is. Yeah, he's flying tomorrow. He was like, "We're gonna meet out at the barns at 11 o'clock." And then go from there, scout out some locations. We'll see what happens. He wants me out there, but I got to do some drone shoots tomorrow for money.
That's what I started with, Shelby. I started with big ass. I got the Eachine, the 800Ds, the really big box goggles. I still have them. Yeah, that's what I started with.
Yeah,
that's what I started
with. There you
go. Yeah, I actually like the box goggles. Believe it or not, you got a nice.
Those are nice, immersive too. Yeah, I started with the Eachine 800s. They're not the D because you got diversity.
I got the diversity and I have the DVR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a different view. They're so damn freaking front heavy. You can't even put them on your head because then they flop down on your forehead. It's a pain in the ass.
Well, eventually, so what I did is I would just.
Ed, what about the DJI FPV drone? What do you think of it?
I got it and I sold it.
You did?
I did a review of it. I did a couple of videos of it, but I'm not that much into it. If it was my first FPV drone, maybe I would have had more fun, but it just didn't have that same feeling that I get with my carbon fiber drones that I've built and nursed back to health 100 times. Sure. So DJI FPV drone just was like, I get it. I can understand why people will enjoy it, but for me personally, I don't think I would keep it around, and I didn't, so I ended up selling it. But it was good to try. It was good to put a video out and at least see what it's all about.
Marcus Crawford, Idaho quadcopter, has gotten himself the DJI FPV drone, and he is going to fly it for the first time tomorrow.
Yeah,
he has never flown FPV ever.
So this is a decent experience.
We're all looking forward to it.
Yeah, I told him to rip that puppy on the Snake River Canyon, bro.
Yeah, he's got a great place to fly it, that's for sure.
Remember that stop button, that pause button. They'll kind of just stop the drone in midair, see if you have any issues. And also don't feel like you need to go into manual right away. I mean, a lot of people will apply that thing in sport mode or even normal mode and have a great old time.
Yeah, because they fly.
Marcus.
Yeah, well, I think he'll do okay. I'm
sure he will. He has no worries, man.
He'll do all right. The oh shit button, exactly what I was going to say. Thank you, Shelby. I was going to say that.
I think DeMarco said he lost. You're talking about he was in a bank. He said it was pretty far, and that DJI FPV drone lost signal for a second or two. It went black, and he was like, kind of wigged out on that.
With that one, though, you don't have to worry about it because it'll go into return to home.
Yeah.
He was flying in sport mode, so it's just, with that, you don't have to worry about it. Now, if it was a regular FPV quad, he would have been screwed. He really would have. What? Oh, Bob Casey just pulled up the Skydio 2 Plus. What do you think about it?
Oh yeah,
it's a one-trick pony quad for me. It's not for me. Ed, something you're interested in?
Well, so this is the Skydio 2 Plus, is like the new one, I guess.
Yeah, brand new one. Yeah.
Unless it's a lot better for chasing than the Skydio 2 is, I don't see it beating out the Mavic 3. I referred to this before, and I don't know if Kelly's put out the video yet, but he and I did a little test session with the Skydio 2 and the Mavic 3 with traversing through some trees.
In Texas.
Obstacle avoidance. Yeah,
we saw that.
I don't know if you
put that out.
Okay. Yep. And I gotta check it out then. Yeah, Mavic 3 in a lot of its situations was beating out the Skydio 2. So we'll see about the 2 Plus. I don't know, but I haven't really shown much interest. I didn't really look at the Skydio 2 with much interest, or the original Skydio just wasn't really my type of thing. But
yeah, it's not mine either. I'm not. It's a one trick thing. Like somebody like Sean up in Colorado, the stuff he does.
Oh yeah,
that's what that's made for.
Following him with the snowboard, or
it's made for,
whatever.
Man.
That's the reason why he got it.
Yeah. Well, he brings it out every time I'm up there, and it looks cool. He just can press forward with it basically, and it just starts weaving around. But then I'm like, that's all it makes me want to do is just fly FPV. I'm like, I could do that so much better. I could go through that little tiny gap that little thing doesn't even see.
You got to have the right place and the right location. I mean, it's not made for everybody for sure. I mean, the Skydio 2,
Look at Shelby's comment. I say dong, but I'm just I don't know. That's just me. Hey, sick pup. Ed, which one do you prefer? Because you're going to be the one with him.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to join him now. No.
Just give him a different location.
Last time I was flying with them, we were all rolling up our sleeves and like stuff because we're trying to burn off our last little bit of farmer's tan before it's too late. I think for Shelby, it is too late. He showed me his sock tan line. That's a whole different animal. But we were all out there doing this, like trying to like burn off that last little bit before it gets too dark, it's too cold. But yeah, then tomorrow it's going to be a completely different story. It's going to be. I mean, right now it's freezing, so I can't imagine tomorrow's going to be that great for weather. But we'll see. He's got a good spot out there. He secured a great location. He has permission to fly acres and acres and acres. And so if he can get us out there, it'd be kind of stupid not to join, but it's only if I'm available.
What do you guys have planned for tomorrow? Just more chases? More chasing?
Going live, probably?
Me? If we go out there, like chasing footage, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've got the chasing out of my system for the moment. I don't want to... It's fun, but I just don't want to keep doing it all the time, or at least posting it all the time, We posted a couple of videos in the past couple of months, and that's pretty good for me for the moment. But if we do chase, I mean, I can see it happening. It's a good location for that, that's for sure.
So what are you guys hooking up to do? Just to get some flying in? I mean, is that pretty much the goal?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, he's just, he's an OG guy from Raleigh, and then Michael Scott Rue, another guy who might be in here, might not. He's another OG guy. He might be working. And then another FPV flyer, Marty Booth's going to probably be out there. So it's just, a collection of guys, fly wings, fly FPV drones, quads, whatever. And like you say, as long as we just practice the rules of telling people what we're plugging in, when we're plugging in, asking if video is good, not plugging in front of somebody who's already up, because even if your video frequency is completely different, you're still going to blow somebody out if you plug in front of their face when they're flying, 1,000 feet away. Just different ways to play well with other people, and then we've kind of figured that out over the last couple of years.
Now that's another good FPV pilot is Michael Scott Rue.
He did a lot of chase stuff, and so he has more practice chasing with Shelby, that's for sure. And they put out some more videos recently, but really to keep up with Shelby and his wing, we got to fly 7-inch. We can't fly our 5-inch quads. They don't have the oomph. And if they do have the oomph, they don't have the endurance to stay with him for more than a couple seconds at a time. And so if he's blasting around at 70, 80 miles an hour, our 7-inch quads with our bi-blade props and our 5 or 6 cell batteries, we can actually keep up, and it's a good experience. But anything smaller than that, it's not generally good.
Now, do you ever fly any VTOLs, Ed, or are you strictly just with the FPV quads?
Every now and then I've flown a wing, they let me fly theirs once or twice, and I've flown their simulator. There's a wing simulator, which is actually pretty fun. It's not that expensive. You can download it, and if you want to dip your toes into flying FPV wings, that's pretty cool.
Ed's got a question too. John Kubi's got a question there too.
Yeah, he wants to know your thoughts on HD0.
Yeah, I'm not up on that, man. You probably know more about it than I do. I don't know much about it, to be honest.
Sharkbite with their digital system.
Yeah, I don't know much about Sharkbite either. I think it's, as far as I've heard, it's improved from what I've seen like a couple of years ago when they were first just like beta testing it. But it's not quite so messy. It didn't have DJI FPV would mush up when signal went bad, whereas it seemed like Sharkbite would get a lot of more of that digital noise that just looked like sandpaper, make it look almost worse in some situations, less flyable. But I think they've improved on that, and that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge about it.
So, Ed, what do you think? What do you think of this?
Oh, the Action 2. I had it ordered. What do you think about it? Now she's broken. No.
Did you just drop that?
No, thank God.
Oh, it's an Action 2. It's okay.
I don't care. It's terrible.
It's I had ordered it. Actually, I had ordered it for spin up, and then it got lost in shipment, and so I didn't get it for weeks and weeks. And then eventually, I just canceled the order, and I put the money toward the Mavic 3, which is a better decision. Shelby's already saying it sucks. He knows that because our friend Michael Scott Rue has been flying it and has broke like 3 in the past probably just as many weeks. Just the other day, I was flying with him, I guess last weekend, and he's like, "Yeah, I broke another one on my first flight." So it's a cool camera. People love the look of it. It seems for FPV. You got people like Steele Davis and others using it primarily for FPV. But then you also got to think, how deep are these people's pockets, because they got to be going through them at a fast pace, because they're not as they're more delicate than your Session 5 or your GoPro Hero 8 or something. So I'm not going to get one for FPV. If I were to get one, it'd be only for review purposes. But yeah, for bashing and crashing, not good in my opinion.
What is your go-to cam for your FPV flying?
Hero 8 right now? Actually,
That's
these days,
I'm
if I'm freestyling, the last couple months, I've just been going without a camera. Just doing the FPV camera, and that's just for my own fun, not really showing flight footage. But if I'm going to be chasing Shelby or whatever, Hero 8 is where it's at for me, because Hero 8 Black will give me the opportunity for using Real Steady, which I use often for the chase sessions. But it also is light enough that it's not getting into Hero 9 or 10 size and weight. Plus, the Hero 9 was getting these weird oscillations and vibrations on my 7-inch quad with the bi-blade props, so 8 doesn't have that. So 8 it seems to be like the sweet spot for me. I haven't even gotten a 10. I experimented with the 9 and it wasn't working for me. The only bad thing is Hero 8 seems to be more affected by cold weather. So if I go to visit Sean or whatever, I might be tempted to bring the Hero 9 or 10 because they have these low temperature batteries now that are supposed to have like lower temperature operating performance, and they're not. I guess able to be used with the Hero 8, or they're not available for the Hero 8. That's the only thing, because I know the Hero 8 was freezing up on me every 5 minutes, it seemed, up there.
Now, I've been using this on my Hero 8 lately with my batteries, and it actually works quite well.
Oh, yeah, iFlight, so that's the 4 to 6S to USB-C.
Yeah, it sheds some weight. You can run without the battery, without the door. It does shed a little bit of weight. But I do wonder, well.
Do you think that would help with low temperatures? Because I wonder, does a GoPro freeze up just because of the battery, or is there something else internal going on?
That's a good question. God, that would definitely be something to test, because you're not going to have any issues from your cells off your lipo.
Right.
I wouldn't think. So
John Cooper, he's got the
There you go. Naked Hero 8.
There's the Naked Hero 8. Yeah.
So I use my naked for my 95X by Beta FPV. I use a Hero 8 naked decased GoPro, and that's awesome too.
There was one thing that was going to stop me from buying that Hero 8, and that was a lot of people complaining that the lens is not replaceable. So
I've never broken one.
Have you?
I've never broken one. I've broken GoPro Hero 8s before, but never the lens.
Never the front
I've broken
lens.
the back screen. I've broken something because the GoPro stopped working a few times. I put it in for service, but that front lens has never broken on me.
I mean,
I have a lens protector.
I have a lens protector on it, and I have the skull mount from Fly High FPV that it actually protects it pretty good. But there's actually a company called Camera Butter that sells these lenses. And all it is 3M tape holding the outer edge of that lens on, and you heat it up with like a heat gun. It takes 2 minutes to change this lens out.
Nice.
And it just pops right off, and then you just take the 3M,
That's good.
the 3M sticky tape, and you pop a new one right on.
That's
they sell
good
them on
news.
Camera Butter. It almost stopped me from buying it until I watched a video of somebody that changed that lens out in like 2 to 3 minutes.
For me, then, the other option would be to go back to the Hero 7, but the Hero 7 gyro data doesn't work with the RealSteady app, which means I would have had to go back to Hero 6.
Oh.
And at that point, you're getting like old, like old tech. So I
Getting
really
back
wanted
there.
the 8. So yeah, I mean, if that's the case, and I think I might have seen someone on YouTube doing that, but I wasn't convinced it was that easy. It sounds like it's pretty easy.
Super, super simple. Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's good to know. Always good to know.
Matty, have you broke that? You hadn't broke that camera though. Yet.
I have not.
Okay.
No, not yet. Thank you, Johnny.
I think they're sturdy. The other thing that I do is I install the GoPro Lab software on them. So now, especially for the 7-inch, because I'm flying that for like maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes sometimes. 15's pushing it. Maybe upwards of 10 minutes if I'm flying conservatively with my 7-inch quad. The GoPro, you might have noticed, will create a new file on the micro SD card.
Yep.
Every 4 gigabytes or so worth.
Yep.
So if you're shooting 4K footage and you have a long recorded flight or file, it might split it up into multiple files. And then when you stitch them together, sometimes if you use RealSteady or some of these smoothing apps, they don't stitch together perfectly and you get that jump. So you install GoPro Lab software, and it's finally like when you record and stop recording, it's one huge single file. And it's awesome. I love that. And you can also use your QR codes. So instead of like push around in the menu, especially with the decased Hero Black, which doesn't have a back screen,
on that one.
You can just use your GoPro, your cell phone, dial in your QR code, have it scan it, and boom, you're good to go. That's awesome. So I have GoPro Lab software on all 3 of my Hero 8s.
That's cool.
What is that? Just an install you do on a computer?
Yeah, it's easy. Just put the little update card onto your update file onto your SD card, pop it in, turn on the GoPro. It knows what to do. 2 or 3 minutes later, you get the success sign and pull it out, and you're good to go.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Cool, man.
Hey, Ed, have you seen the new beta flight 4.3 that's been announced?
I've seen it. I've seen it, but I've never had good luck updating beta flight, it seems. Every time a new one comes out, 4.1, 4.2, they're always like, you can't use the previous tuning. You have to start from scratch. And so I actually don't use beta flight for most of my freestyle quads. I use emu flight. And so that's emulating Betaflight 3.5.7, which was my favorite Betaflight. So I have not. I don't have good luck with anything above 4.0, and I haven't really tried it since 4.2. So I don't know much about 4.3 other than people like it. There are some good things in the app. The configurator has some cool perks like motor mapping and motor direction and all that stuff. And that's
Changed
cool.
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But from for what I use, I don't really.
I heard Emo Flight is pretty good, man. I heard that a lot of people like
decent.
Shelby
And
just
since then,
asked,
I just haven't really done anything with it. You know, I haven't updated my quads or anything. I've gotten so used to how they are, they don't change it.
what's base flight? He said who's used base flight.
Base flight.
Base flight. I don't know. You know when I had my 7-inch build,
he's a beta flight. He just can't type. He's got fat fingers.
Oh.
No, he might say base flight. I don't know. I'm just picking on him. I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
I don't know what he means. I don't know what Shelby means. What do you mean, Shelby?
Yeah, what do you mean, Shelby?
Base
Flight. I never heard of it. I think he meant beta flight.
Base flight was base flight was the first, he said.
Oh, okay.
I used to use I had clean flight for some of my stuff. I used clean flight, which was also an older one. All right, so yeah, Koopy. Now here's the thing.
Did not end well.
The one thing you can do is you can dump file, which will save all of your tune settings on your laptop.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, he tried to transfer some of them to the new tunes on Betaflight 4.3, and yeah.
So it still didn't end well.
Yeah, it's not
it could be a hot
completely-
motor, or it could be falling out of the sky. I wonder how bad it ended.
Now he's
it's
gotta start from scratch.
It's not fully functional though. Betaflight 4.3.
But I heard their stock tune settings weren't bad. When on the new Betaflight 4.3, the new stock PID tunes and all are not bad. That's what I heard. Now I'm not going to be the one to try it. Not a chance. I'll let other people do that shit before I do it. I'm too scared to crash my quads now. I'm definitely not going to do it with a new freaking software.
Thanks, Ray.
Well, the biggest thing. Thanks, Ray. The biggest thing is just to do your test flights, and if you are flying something like a preset, fly for 30 seconds and come back, land, feel the motors, see if they're hot or not.
Yep.
You don't want to fly a whole pack and scorch your motors.
Oh yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, and especially if you're using a quad with slightly, bent up or damaged motors or whatever, you kind of want to do that with a clean build. And I think about my 5-inch quads; they're not ready to use new firmware for testing and PID tuning and stuff. They're not in that right condition. Maybe a new build.
All right.
Shelby said, "Who actually PID tunes their quads?" And my answer to that is, I have no freaking clue how. I don't know how to use the PIDs.
So Shelby, he was picking on us earlier about being younglings because yes, he said Betaflight was the start. Shelby actually it might be his most viewed video on YouTube is a PID tuning tutorial for quads. Back before he flew wings, he was flying quads.
There you go,
and he knew
Matty.
how to do that type of thing. So you can follow that, but of course he's also using probably Betaflight 3 something or 2 even. It's going to be applicable. The mechanics of it are applicable, but in terms of what Betaflight might require now with 4.2 and 4.3, you gotta have to kind of take the notes of these new releases into consideration and just kind of see what's possible. I knew with Betaflight 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, I was able to use Shelby's video and it worked.
There's only 2 quads I have that could use PID tuning. Everything else, I buy bond and flies. I don't build. I do not build. I don't have time to build them. I have no inclination whatsoever to build a quad. I just don't. I'd rather just buy them and fly them.
I've never really built much of a quad. I've just repaired so much that my quads have changed over time and they no longer have original parts. So you're going to learn how to build.
I'm going to have to learn.
Just by repairing enough. And then all of a sudden you realize I built this quad. I just didn't do it all in one day.
Right.
Matty, you could do it though.
You could do it, Matty. I did it my first time. My first time, I just finished building it my first time, and I did well.
I want to build one because I want to understand the components. I want to understand how everything works, how everything goes together.
Yeah.
But other than that, after the one build, I'll never do it again. I'll probably bind and flies are great. Like that Nazgul Evoke, that thing is tuned to perfection. I love it.
I was looking at that.
I absolutely love it.
Oh my God! Look who's in the chats.
Alexis.
Alexis, hi, honey.
I have the Dead Cat 5-inch. They have a new 6-inch out now.
Alexis, hi.
They have iFlight released the Nazgul Evoke 6. It's a 6-inch now with they have the X-frame and the Dead Cat. Yeah, it's badass. It's a big boy.
Yeah. Hey, have you changed that one over? No.
To digital?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope. The only thing holding me up from changing the 1, 2, 3, 4 quads to digital is the price of the freaking cameras. I'm just waiting until I can do one at a time probably. That's about it.
Right.
I'll end up doing it sooner or later. But I have one with those DJI FPV goggles that Ken gave me. He also gave me a 3-inch Apex DJI quad or digital quad that was ready to go with crossfire and everything on it. Yeah, he's a good dude, bro. He's a good dude. Mm-hmm. All I did was spot for him in West Palm. He had a gig where he had to do some video around a shit ton of people at some grand opening for some town center, and he didn't have a spotter, so he called me because I'm closest to West Palm.
Right.
And it worked out well. It worked out well for me.
That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. Love that trade.
Yeah, bud.
Well, I'm sure Ed has to get back to what he was doing. Sure, he's a busy guy. So
I'm actually putting in those little timestamps in my video description for that Maverick 3 tutorial I was talking about.
Yeah.
And so I want to put that out tomorrow morning, and I was like, I got to do this tonight. But it's just looking through that video and trying to get those timestamps right.
So you have to do those timestamps manually. I thought it was like a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta
and you got to be careful. So some people put in timestamps, and that's all well and good. But if you want them to show up on the play bar, you also have to put a 0.00 at the top of the list. And so if you have a bunch of timestamps of all different, minutes and seconds, at the very top of that list, you have to put 0.00, and then after that, whatever that could be, intro or the title of the video or something. And that then once you have that beginning timestamp, it'll auto-populate across the entire playhead. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I didn't know.
I've done it for a few, but it takes a little time to, figure. You got to kind of watch it.
It's a pain, but people love it, man, and they'll appreciate it too.
It really does. It makes it easy, especially on a video that you're watching for a tutorial or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to those
thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
this
me
was
too.
Awesome.
I'm looking
appreciate
forward.
it. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you for coming in, Ed. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to your video. And you guys, let's mention this little plug for Greg Pilot Institute. If you guys are interested in getting your 107, make sure you guys go check out Pilot Institute. Great course, and get your 107. So there you go.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
So
all right, thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. Matt, Johnny, Sergio, thanks for a great show every week.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All
right, guys. Take care. Good night.
Good night.
Take
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Ed. Thanks for coming in. Matt, John, my brother, partners of crime, and the people in the chat. Have a good night. Fly safe and happy flying. See you.